Greetings. I just wanted to show something really quickly, something that I found in a rabbinic translation of Genesis into Aramaic that I thought was interesting and I thought others might find interesting. So what you're looking at here is a volume of Mikrot Gedolot, which is sort of like a Rabbinic Jewish study Bible of sorts, and this volume is specifically for Genesis, or as it says here, Bereshit. And I'm going to open it up to show you the structure of a copy of Mikrot Gedolot. What you'll have is the biblical text, the biblical Hebrew text here, and then it'll have other translations. In this particular edition, since it's for the book of Genesis, for Bereshit, it has the ancient Targum Onkelos, and then it has a second Targum, what I call pseudo Yonatan, but here it says Targum Yonatan, and then it has a bunch of commentaries, like for example of Rashi or Ramban with a nun, not a mem. So this is Nachmanides, not Maimonides, but whatever the case, commentaries and translations. And what I want to look at is Genesis 21:21, which in the standard text talks about Ishmael's mother getting him a wife from the land of Egypt. And it's interesting that what appears in Targum Yonatan. So in Targum pseudo Yonatan, the pseudo Yonatan Targum for the Torah, there's all sorts of extra material that's inserted into the translation of the text. So again, we're in the book of Genesis. We're in chapter 21, and verse 21 starts here in this Aramaic Targum, and it's a medieval Targum. I think Jewish tradition treats it as ancient, but it's medieval, and I'd actually argue that it's post-Islamic. And the text that we're going to look at here, I think personally, is a sign that this is a post-Islamic text, right? Which is to say that it reached its final redaction, or it was even translated after the start of the Islamic faith, or the dawn of Islam. And even if the translation began before the dawn of Islam, what we're going to look at here is, I think, evidence of this particular translation maybe going through different editions and reaching its final redaction, or its final form after the dawn of Islam. So in that verse, in Genesis 21:21, when it talks about Ishmael's mother getting a wife for him, this is what it says. So it's nesibat, right? This is the verb. It's like a verb to marry, right? Nesibat le. So by the way, this is feminine. So she married to him, and then it's the subject here, which is imme, right? This is his mother. So his mother married to him. Then you have the object marker. So this is the object of the verb, and it says Patiма or Fatima, and then Ittah, the wife or the woman. So what's significant here is that this text is stating that Ishmael's wife, it seems to be stating that Ishmael's wife was named Fatima. And I find that very interesting. Now, admittedly, it's not spelled quite the same as the Muslim name Fatima, but obviously that's where my mind went. Now, the name Fatima is the name in Islamic history. It's the name of the daughter of Muhammad, the central prophet of the Islamic faith. And it's also the name of the wife of Ali. And then she's a central figure in at least Shi'i Islam. Now, let me put this graphic that I made on the screen to show the differences in spelling. There are differences in spelling here. You see on the left is the name that appears in this Targum that we're looking at, Targum Yonatan, and on the right is the Muslim name. Now, on the left, I transliterate the name from the Targum into the corresponding Arabic characters, and then on the right, I transliterate the Muslim name into the corresponding Hebrew characters. And the main difference is where the emphases are. You see, in the name in the Targum, the first syllable is short, while the second syllable is long, Fatima. And in the Islamic name, in that Muslim name, it's the reverse. The first syllable is long, while the second syllable is short, Fatima, right? Now, on a quick technical note, or I guess I could call this a concession, in the now pointed text of the Targum, there's a dagesh on the first letter, the fe, so it's actually a pe, which is to say, according to that pointing, according to the diacritics, it's actually Patiма, rather than Fatima, which is to say it's with a P rather than an F. But I honestly think that's a moot point and it's open to question. But whatever the case, because the names are different, some might argue that maybe this isn't the name Fatima, right? Maybe it's not bringing up Fatima, and then therefore we don't have to claim that this is evidence of the text reaching its final form after the dawn of Islam. But I think that raises a question. What then would this be? Now, admittedly, the word patim can mean fat or fattened. It's like a passive participle. But if that was intended here, and if it was intended as an adjective, modifying the noun, which means wife or woman, I think the word order would be different, as the adjective would follow the noun. And moreover, being feminine, I would think that the adjective would likewise have a tau before the definite article to clarify that it's feminine. So to show this difference, the text at the top, Fatima Ittah, means Fatima, the wife, or Fatima, the woman, while the fat wife would look like that text, that lower text on your screen, Ittah, Patimta, right? And that's why I don't think that this is an adjective. I think it's clearly intended as a name, and it's apparently the name Fatima. But it gets more interesting. So like I said, you have this text here that talks about his mother marrying to him Fatima or Fatima. But what it says immediately before that is also interesting. So using the same verb, it says here, let me see if I can find, here we go. It says ونסיب, right? So now this is masculine. ונסיבת is feminine, this is masculine. So this is referring to Ishmael, right? And it says ونסיבתה ית עדישא. So, and then it says ותרכה, and he divorced her. He abandoned her, right? But what's interesting is it says that that Ishmael married a woman named Aisha, and then he divorced her, and then his mother got him this woman named Fatima or Fatima. Now, this is interesting. So I want to show something from Yastrov's dictionary, or Jastrow, as some like to say. So this is, let me see if I can get the cover. This is Marcus Yastrov's dictionary, Dictionary to the Targumim, Talmud Bavli, Talmud Yerushalmi, Midrashic Literature by Marcus Yastrov, or as some say Jastrow. And he has an entry for Aisha, right? And what he says is he claims that Aisha is Khadija, and I don't think that's correct. So I made this graphic to show that this other name in the Targum, Aisha, is actually closer to Aisha than it is to Khadija, right? So I do think that this is actually a reference to Aisha rather than Khadija. But it's still curious. Like, what are we to make of this? I should also add that Targum Yonatan is a very mystical text, and so maybe it's trying to treat this as subtly prophetic somehow. I don't know. But basically what it's saying is that indirectly it seems to have deliberately changed the name in this case, or maybe the author just didn't know the name, but I think more likely they've deliberately changed the name for some reason. But it seems to be saying that Ishmael first married a woman named Aisha, even though it says Adisha here. So first Ishmael married Aisha, and then he divorced her, he separated from her, he abandoned her, and then he got with Fatima, or as it says here, Fatima, right? Now, in rabbinic literature, Esau is always treated as a representation of Christianity or Rome or the West and so on, and Ishmael is treated as a representation of the Arab world and the Muslim world. And so I have to wonder if something mystical here was intended, a sort of post hoc, retrofitted attempt at a prophecy of some sort, But if that's the case, what does it mean to think of Ishmael as nation first being with Aisha and then separating from her, abandoning her, and then getting with Fatima? I don't know what to make of that. I wonder if it's some sort of almost like a sectarian illusion, like it's sort of leaning towards the Shia side of the divide. That's my guess. I don't know. But if you have any ideas, then feel free to share your thoughts. I just wanted to share this because I thought it was interesting, but I don't have all the answers on what the motivation was for this apparently medieval, I would assume early medieval, maybe from late antiquity, but yeah, early medieval rabbinic text, which seems to work in references to Aisha and Fatima when referring to Ishmael, but seemingly alluding to Ishmael abandoning or moving away or divorcing from Aisha and then marrying Fatima. That seems to have some sort of it at least invites one to think about the divide in Islam, between the Sunnis and the Shia. I don't know. But with that, I'll close this video here. As always, I welcome any comments, questions, or criticisms, so feel free to share your thoughts. And God bless.